Good morning and welcome to our Holy Comforters Children's Sunday School Online. During these 12 weeks, we will be using Illustrated Ministries and Illustrated Compassion Learning to Live Like God curriculum. During these lessons, we will hear different stories in the Bible that focus on compassion. Compassion is having concern for the suffering and misfortune of others. And having compassion for others, even when we cannot fully understand their situation, we are drawn closer to living like Jesus. This week, our story is about David. If you want to read it yourself in your own Bible, you can go to 2 Samuel 9, verses 1 through 19. Here's a rundown of our story about David's kindness. There was a man named David. He was the king. He wondered out loud, is there anyone from Saul's family still around? In memory of my friend Jonathan, I'd like to show kindness to them. A servant named Ziba came to David to answer. A son of Jonathan lives at Lo-debar. Both of his feet are crippled. David sent for his friend's son, whose name was Mephibosheth, and when he came, he bowed before King David. King David called him by name, so he said, I am your servant. But David said to him, don't be afraid. I was a friend of your father's, and I want to honor him. Let me give back all of the land that was your grandfather Saul's, and I want to invite you to eat with me at my table for all of your meals. Mephibosheth said, who am I? I'm like a dead dog. Why this kindness? But David insisted. He called back Ziba, who had been a servant of Saul's, and told him the new plan. Everything that was Saul's I've given to his grandson. You and your family and your servants will till the land for him and bring in the produce, but you will always eat at my table. Ziba said he would do all that David commanded, and they ate at David's table like royalty. Now, let's take a minute and think about this story. Have you ever heard it before? Is there something in this story that stands out to you? Maybe something small, or maybe something big. Imagine for a minute that you are Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth. How do you think you would have felt being told by the king that you would inherit everything that belonged to King Saul? What was happening? Why would the king honor you? Now imagine for a minute that you were the king. Why do you think the king went out of his way to find his friend's son and honor him? If grace means to give something like our love, care, or generosity to someone who doesn't deserve it, where are some places you see grace in the story about David and Mephibosheth? Mephibosheth doesn't feel like he deserves this kind of compassion from David. I wonder if you've ever felt this way when someone showed grace to you. What do you remember? Sometimes we show compassion and grace to someone out of love we have for someone else, like David decided to honor Mephibosheth because he loved Jonathan so much. Think about someone in your life that you really love. Maybe it's a parent, a friend, or someone else. Who could you give generously to in honor of that person you love? Who is someone in your life in need of your grace and attention? In addition to showing compassion to Mephibosheth by giving him land and food, David gives him the gift of encouragement. He couldn't walk, and many people may not have treated him well because of that. David instead sees Mephibosheth as someone special, as a child of God who deserves much love and compassion. This week, I would like for you to think about why it's important to be kind to people. What can you do to lift someone's spirit this week? Today, we're going to work on showing kindness by reminding people why they are amazing. I want you to take a few pieces of paper and cut them into strips. On the paper, write compliments for the people you come in contact with, and then give them what you wrote. They don't have to be anything big, but they definitely should be something genuine. Now let's end our time in a prayer. Dear God, thank you for giving us good things when we haven't earned them and for teaching us about grace in the story of David. Keep our hearts soft with compassion and help us to show grace to others. Amen. I hope you enjoyed this week's lesson, and I hope I'll see you again next week. Bye. Have a great week.